The release of XDefiant is something that so many FPS fans are very eagerly awaiting. XDefiant, the so-called Call of Duty killer. Now I know we've had games in the past that have always been the killer of major games that have just never worked out, unfortunately. The Finals is one of the greatest examples of that. In the beginning, everyone, including myself, was calling the Finals the Apex Legends killer. Well, it's safe to say that I do stand corrected. However, XDefiant is completely different. It's being developed by Ubisoft, and more importantly than that, one of the devs of XDefiant is actually named Mark Rubin, and he has a track record of developing quite a few Call of Duty games. Call of Duty Ghosts, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. So it's more than safe to say that Mark Rubin, as well as the other devs at Ubisoft, know how to create really good games. They know exactly how to create a first-person shooter that gives us the same feeling of nostalgia from the OG COD days. And so we are presented with XDefiant, a game that surpassed over 1 million players in the closed beta, something that is extremely rare for a game to have so soon, even before its official release. An arena-styled first-person shooter, a lot like COD in that sense, but has aspects to it that make you think COD should have thought about this eons ago. And XDefiant also hints a gentle reminder of something a lot like Black Ops 4. Now, even though this game is all good and well, there's just one question that every single one of us who have played this game are seriously anticipating an answer for. When exactly is the release of XDefiant? With the game actually being a free-to-play title, allowing support for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and most importantly PC, they also have cross-platform ready to go along with it. There's a lot of things that have been tackled out of the gate in order for XDefiant to be a ready-on-release basis type of game. There's a lot of things that have been tackled out of the gate in order for XDefiant to be on a ready-to-release basis. Now, even though we're still very eager for the release of XDefiant, there is one game that comes packed with everything that we're looking for. Available on both PC and mobile with over 800 overpowered champions to choose from, Raid Shadow Legends has everything you need for the perfect blend of turn-based MMORPG gaming that honestly kept me playing for hours on end. The graphics for this game are exceptionally good for a mobile game, and as I'm sure we all know, it is completely free. The game has quite literally every kind of mystical creature and race of species for you to choose from and play. From lizard-like creatures to elves, orcs, dwarves, and monsters from other worlds, and that's only just scratching the surface. I have been maining a ton of Warlim the Frost King, otherwise known as the Great Protector. This guy is extremely overpowered since he's one of the rarest legendary champions in the game. He's basically a tank, and he focuses a lot on defense as well as debuffing the enemy, so you can always get the upper hand in a fight. So if you're going to run the Doom Tower, you absolutely need him on your team since he grants a 40% buff to your team's defense. But of course, we can't forget about the Knight's Revenant, Georgia the Breaker. This champion is an absolute demon, easily one of the hardest hitting champions available in the game. This nutcracker of a champion is a monster in the arena, and his skills allow him to ignore all of the protective buffs available, and his base attack stat is already over 1,600. But if you thought that was cool, Raid also just added their Cursed City update. This is one of Raid's biggest features since the Doom Tower, with 100 stages to complete, including stages where you'll need to take down 2 of Raid's bosses at the same time. And if you click the link in my description, you will win your very first epic champion that is only available via my link, Drake. The epic champion is also a part of the Lizardman faction. Drake is an attack type champion wielding a spirit affinity and is extremely useful champion for your team. Now, not only do you win the epic champion Drake, but you also get energy refills, skill tome, as well as an XP booster. Click the link in my description or scan my QR code to get insane bonuses like your first epic champion, available only via my link. So just hit the link in my description description, and I'll see you guys on the battlefield. But there is one small issue with XDefiant. For all the homies playing on PS4 and Xbox One, you guys are going to have to wait just a little bit longer, as support for last gen will come shortly after launch. A tweet from the official XDefiant Twitter page says, "Last gen is actively being worked on, so they offer a similar great experience to current gen. We will launch them as soon as they are ready and update you all on this topic closer to launch." Now, of course, this plays a massive intro into understanding the release date for the game, because it shows that Ubisoft has come closer and closer to put the game into a more finished state for the game to actually get released, and we can all get our grubby little hands on it. Now, recently Ubisoft had their earnings calls, and based off that information we can see here, XDefiant is expected to be one of their most profitable games of the year, and along with a list of other games, we are expected to see a release, or at least a date for release at a later stage, either in mid-February or in late March, at the end of March to be a little bit more detailed. The thing is, Ubisoft is planning to release XDefiant with some genuinely good content for the player base. Now, of course, there is going to be new content that launches with the release of XDefiant, and the team at Ubisoft is really hard working on this, which could also explain why there would be a delay or still no confirmed release date. I'm pretty sure we have all had this exact same experience where we are seriously anticipating the release of a game just for it to get released with a bunch of bugs, glitches, and the game is just not polished to what we expected it to be. Cyberpunk 2077 is a great example of this. Every single one of us were seriously anticipating Cyberpunk. We knew that it was going to be an amazing game, but the moment that it released, everyone absolutely hated it. It took a while for the devs to actually go and update the game to make it more into exactly what they wanted it to be originally. And so the devs at Ubisoft are combating this. They do not want to release XDefiant with any of these issues. The game is going to be a smooth launch. Ubisoft plans to have the content release with a whole bunch of new maps, 14 to be precise, 10 arena maps, as well as the 4 progression maps for the game. And what really separates this game's launch is where the little content integrations from other Ubisoft games actually comes in. For newer players who didn't play the beta, there will be a new faction for you to unlock called DedSec. And if you're unfamiliar with DedSec, then I highly recommend that you play Watch Dogs. And so for those of you who don't know, XDefiant's factions are basically, like I said, integrations from the other games that Ubisoft has made, which basically makes this game an in-between where Ubisoft's games collide into one universe, very similarly to how Apex Legends takes from the Titanfall universe. Game companies have recognized that a small touch like this plays a huge role in the intrigue of a game. The very fact that Apex Legends derives from Titanfall as well as its lore is what makes Apex Legends so game-changing and loved by so many more people. We saw a massive influx of new players going over to try Titanfall for the first time because of Apex, and that is also definitely something that we will see with XDefiant, where the new players who have never played any of the games the factions derive from will now go and play those games for the very first time. The current factions in the game are as follows. We have Cleaners from The Division, we have Echelon from Splinter Cell, we have Libertad from Far Cry 6, Phantoms from Ghost Recon Phantoms, and DedSec from Watch Dogs 2. And of course, the game will also release with 5 new modes as well as 24 weapons. But there is something that was added but also removed in this game that nobody was really expecting at all. Allow me to explain what I mean by this. SPMM is a very controversial topic, especially in FPS games. Ubisoft was very smart with how they decided to actually input skill-based matchmaking into XDefiant. If you are under level 25, there will not be any SPMM in normal playlists. So skill-based matchmaking won't really be a thing unless you want it to be. However, ranked will most definitely have SPMM. Unlike Apex, Call of Duty, The Finals, Destiny, and so many other FPS games that just have a matchmaking system that absolutely you. But there is a system that Ubisoft is deciding to use that you don't see too often with other games, and that is input-based matchmaking. It's in the name. If you are playing on a controller, you'll mostly go up against other controller players, and if you are on M&K, you will mostly go up against other M&K players. However, Ubisoft is definitely playing this for the long haul. For example, the finals didn't even have a roadmap, which obviously updates a lot of players about the content for the game, because usually that's just industry standard. But here with XDefiant, we are able to take a look at the roadmap, and holy do they have some decent content coming along with it. We will have 4 seasons in total, 12 new weapons, 12 new maps, battle passes, a whole bunch of new game modes, as well as a prestige system that is currently in the works. And Mark Cuban actually did confirm this himself. I'm sure a lot of us are seriously hoping that XDefiant is that one game we can all just play over and over again and just have some genuine fun with it. A lot of us thought that would be the finals, and honestly, it's been about a month later and the hype nor the desire to play the game just isn't as prominent as it once was. So everyone who was roasting me in the comment section for de-writing the finals a few months ago, here is my humble apology. The release of XDefiant is something that so many FPS fans are very eagerly awaiting.